Hello everybody and welcome to Sonic 4 Episode 1. Yes, Sonic Superstars is coming, so let's do this again. Why not? Since it's been a while and there are some updates to the stuff we said that could be definitely mentioned. Anyway,
to paraphrase the Shadow the Hedgehog game, it's been a long road.
It's been a long time, so allow me to explain. Basically, Teo, after the stuff Sonic 06 and all the games that came after, there was a massive backlash against anything 3D Sonic, anything that didn't have just Sonic in it, because critics are stupid. So this was Sega's answer. There you go, a Sonic game that's just like the old ones. Happy now? Problem is, it's a shitty Sonic 4. So
there was quite a bit of hype behind this game, so much so that this is going to take Sonic right smack dab back down to his roots. It was just Sonic and Eggman. Mono e mono.
I don't necessarily mind. I don't necessarily mind. Again, it goes back to basics. It's just that this game isn't even good on its own merits. Go on.
So there are two major issues for this. One, this is a quote-unquote classic game that is using the Rush engine.
Yep.
And two, it wasn't even done by Sonic Team, but Dimps. Actually, let me throw in problem number 3.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, hence this using the Rush engine. But yeah, you know, might as well throw in the third problem. This wasn't even originally a console game. No. This was originally just a mobile game that they decided to slap in the name Sonic the Hedgehog 4 onto.
Hey, Jova, what other game do we know that was meant to be a mobile game but then got ported to consoles?
Balan Wonderworld.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Yep. It was originally supposed to be a mobile game.
Like I said, it did work out with the voice of cards.
Also, can I talk about how this title screen is garbage? Look at that. It's just Sonic's finger moving in such a... I used to even say that it's like a fan made it on Flash, because fans can make something better looking than that.
Okay. Let's be fair, back in the day, people were keen with this, seeing as how, let's see, this was technically a download-only title, which, yeah, download-only titles were, they tended to be on the cheaper side.
You say that, Jova, but 2 years before this, we got Mega Man 9. I know that a lot of people don't care much for Mega Man 9 and 10, but I don't know, like,
I mean, Mega Man 9 is literally using, like, pretty old graphics, though. Like, it wasn't like it looked high budget or anything.
What year did this came out?
2010.
2010.
And the story had been around for way longer as a download-only title as well.
Basically,
again, though, like, well, in terms of looks, though, is what we're talking. As for how it plays, Pedro, take it away.
Okay, so Sonic 4 Episode 1, just like the games that it's supposedly a sequel to, is a 2D platformer with speed as its focus. Thing is, okay, let's talk about the three primary problems that you immediately notice the first minute you boot up the game. First, this game looks ugly. The textures look like they were made on Newgrounds and port onto the game. Like, look, and by the way, I'm playing the PS3 version and not PCSS3, which is actually the better looking version, because for whatever reason, the 360 version has Sonic's model be very overly shiny for some reason, and since the Steam version is a port of the 360 version, it carries that on to the Steam version, which is why I'm not playing the Steam version for this playthrough.
Even shinier than he already looks in this game.
Here's the other thing you notice. There is no such thing as physics in this game, because remember, this is, like Jova said, this is using the Rush engine, and the Rush engine works fine because that game is not about physics and momentum, it's about just rushing for the stages, hence the name. There you go.
I will argue this, though, Rush still had better physics than Sonic 4 Episode 1, like, what the hell?
Is it Sonic tilting?
There is no such thing as momentum in this game. Like, I just like...
Now, okay. Part of why we're doing this now is because, well, again, if you've been around since at least 2022, you know that Sonic's been on a pretty good redemption era. As of the time of this recording, we are getting what looks to officially be the Sonic the Hedgehog 4.
Basically the game that this game should have been.
I think the only reason they're not calling Superstar Sonic 4 is because we still do recognize Episode 2, especially since they recently released a toy based off of the flipping egg heart of all things, so...
Also, wasn't Mania supposed to be the real 4?
Well, fans like to call it that because it's much better, but technically it's not. Although I will argue Sonic Superstars is a better name for it because it actually is a full-blown game with only new zones. Because Mania is a celebration game more than anything. So
Mania is probably gonna be more so regarded as Sonic 5 if we're speaking chronological stuff, because Superstars is confirmed to come right off of Origins, essentially.
God, the special stages, Jesus. Okay. Alright, so basically...
Okay, come on, Pedro. Not as bad as Sonic Advanced 3s or 2s.
The special stages in this game? I don't know, Dwebs. I don't know.
I'll agree. I'll take them over advanced.
Hold on, just to make sure I don't... Okay, so basically what you do is, it's a Sonic 1 special stage, except instead of controlling Sonic, you rotate the labyrinth. Meaning if you get dizzy easily, I don't recommend playing these. But
then how will you get the Chaos Emerald?
Perfect to play while you're in
You don't.
Perfect to play in
You're
the
fucked.
car while it's moving.
Okay, you have to get a certain number of rings to open up the barriers, and you're also on a timer. And that's the primary main differences, basically. Aside from that, it's basically the Sonic 1 special stages again, except the background looks like it can fall out of a kaleidoscope. Like, what the hell is that?
Didn't the original also try to do something similar?
Yeah, but the visuals in the Sonic 1's, I will argue, were more creative and more appealing to look at. Look at that thing. I don't even know what the hell that thing is supposed to be.
Well, again, it's using the classic technique to do what you said. It's similar to a kaleidoscope in the sense of an inventory
If there is one thing that I think the special stages do better than Sonic 1's, is that it replaces the misleading goal signs with exclamation marks, as in, don't touch these.
Yeah, basically. There we go, we got the first Chaos Emerald.
Ironically, if I recall correctly, the critics apparently loved this game but didn't like Sonic 4 Episode 2 as much, which is just...
ridiculous. But anyway, here's the... okay, so for as much as it pains me to say this, here's the other major thing you immediately notice when you play this game. The music. The Dying Cats joke is real, folks. Jun Tsunoe tried to use the Sonic 2 drums and everything, and I appreciate that commitment. The problem is, as we've talked about various times regarding Jun is in his element when he's making music for modern Sonic games, when he's using actual instruments, specifically guitars. When he's trying to replicate the sound of the classic Sonic games, usually he tends to, as demonstrated by the instrumentation of the Supersonic theme that was made specifically for Origins, which a fan called Polo Blue immediately made much better, much more akin to how Sonic 3's instrumentation is. Again, I'm a huge fan of Jun Tsunoe. He's my favorite Sonic composer, and I just wish Iizuka would stop putting him in doing music for classic Sonic games. This is not what he excels at. Why can't he?
Credit where credit is due. I've listened to some tracks on Sonic Superstars, and it looks like he's finally got it.
Sure. I just wish Jun would be allowed to work in his element again for a change. Like, come on.
Well, he usually is. He's just like not usually the lead music maker.
I take from what you said that he did not compose for Frontiers.
No, that's Otani.
Okay. Music that primarily uses just keyboards is more Otani's thing.
Yep.
Okay. The thing to remember is that Jun Tsunoe does do a lot of guitar work, even when Otani's the guy in charge.
Did he? I don't think he did. I know he did the guitars for Infinite's theme, but I don't think he did any work at all for Frontiers, did he?
I think he was the vocal director for some of the songs.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, he is the more experienced vocal songs guy, so I guess that makes sense, actually. Okay.
Well, then that makes... Well, there you go. I guess he is in his element.
The vocal songs are the best tracks in the game, so that makes sense.
Didn't Jun Tsunoe technically get a start with Sonic 3 and Knuckles?
He did. However, for as much as it pains me to say, yeah, this is definitely Jun Tsunoe at his worst. The music in this game is really laughably bad at worst and only tolerable at best.
That said, I do want to say, I think it's the sound composition that's bad, not the melodies. And apparently T-Lopes agrees, because if I recall correctly, T-Lopes did literally a remixing of Sonic 4 Episode 1's
I think what you're trying to say, like, the melodies are fine, but it's the instrumentation that's the problem that you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think the music overall is, it's fine. It's not the best Sonic soundtrack in the world, I mean, far from it. But, I've heard worse. I mean, I've heard the next game soundtrack.
I thought you were gonna say Sonic Genesis.
Fuck, I hate that part. I hate this part. I hate this part.
Okay.
Oh god,
I'll be clear. The worst soundtrack that has original music.
Okay.
Barely made it.
Kind of a big difficulty of Grease for
I know, right? And it's only gonna get worse because some of these special stages are very dickish in the way they put these exclamation blocks. Jesus.
I hope that Sonic Superstar.
Alright, this is probably my favorite track in the game, the Splash Hill Act 3 theme. This one is fine.
Okay, I will say this. I feel like June thankfully improved on the instrumentation with Episode 2.
I agree.
And I will also say that I will also say Episode 2 legit gave us a great Metal Sonic theme as well as a nice
That's
Sky
my
theme.
favorite theme from the game.
That's a lot of people's favorite theme from the game.
Yeah.
One thing you'll notice, one thing they like to do is try and give each level a certain gimmick, eventually. Like here, we've got the zip line.
I think Some Call Me Johnny put it best when it comes to Sonic 4 music. The problem, a big problem with the Sonic 4 soundtrack is that June seems to be so afraid to go for more than 20 seconds before looping the track. I mean, compare this to other tracks in classic Sonic games. They go on for a while, like at least 50 seconds, or most of the times more before they start looping. June, for these games, made a 20-second loop and just called it a day. Like,
that said, I will give him credit. The invincibility theme is legit good.
I just wish she would be longer, you know?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Because so many of these tracks are just 20-second loops over and over and over, and as a result, they become repetitive fast, you know? Another thing that Some Call Me Johnny said very well, as you're seeing right now, this game's is the level design. The level design is full of boosters, springs, and other gimmicks that just do nothing but sprint you forward to where you're supposed to go. There's very little depth.
Game. Where are my bottomless pits?
Yeah, well, there are going to be bottomless pits later.
In the second game.
That too, sure, but there's also a few of them in this game, as I will demonstrate in the next part. But well, actually, I think it's in this part, actually, now that I think about it.
I joke, but again, I will say this. Dims weren't always the devil when it came to Sonic.
No, they weren't.
I mean, they gave us the Advance Trilogy and the Rush Duology, as well as Sonic Colors DS, so they went to rehab after Sonic 4 Episode 1. And hey, Sonic 4 Episode 2 was also an improvement.
I can't stand looking at that grass. The grass in Sonic 3 looks more detailed than that. And that game came out in 1994. Like, how is it, Jova, that the grass in a 2010 game looks less detailed than a 1994 game? Explain that to me.
Well, maybe when you go uber cheap with your game, that tends to present
I also
a
get
problem.
the idea they literally misinterpreted what it was supposed to look like. Instead of normal grass, more of a, plastic like looking.
So plastic hill zone.
I get what they were trying to do, but
AstroTurf, there you go.
I get what they're trying to do, and there is. I think the one zone that works well with the plasticky-ishness is the last one.
I prefer the way that Episode 2 looks.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll agree. Episode 2 is much better looking.
Also, like Jova said, yes, this game was originally meant to be a mobile-only game called Sonic the Portable, and you can actually see that because in Casino Street Zone, you can still see the Sonic the Portable logo in the background. They didn't bother to rename that.
Almost there, Pedro.
And of course they put those exclamation mark blocks right next to the fucking emerald. You see what I mean? Every time I get near an emerald, I see those blocks and I immediately I start sweating because
these might be the second most stress-inducing special stages.
Oh boy, this boss feed coming up.
Oh yeah.
Okay, can I explain this one?
Go ahead.
Okay, this boss theme is actually a rejected boss theme from Sonic 3D Blast.
The Mega Drive version specifically.
Rejected for reasons, am I right?
Yeah.
I will say this, I prefer the pinch music, and even still not specifically the pinch music, but episode 2's versions of it.
Why is Hedgehog looking so small in the aeromobile?
Hold on, we'll be able to talk about that later.
Like I said, I'll wait till episode 2 to elaborate.
Alright, so like Jova said, yeah, there's a pinch mode in the boss battles, and yes, that doesn't change much because you can just easily do the homing attack. Yeah, that's a little problem, by the way. They want to have classic style bosses, but they gave Sonic a homing attack, which basically makes these bosses a cakewalk. I mean,
why does Hedgehog look so small?
Because oh my god, the animals look terrible too. Jesus Christ.
The grass is so shiny.
I know, right? Why does everything...
Be free, animals! Be free on the plastic
you see,
grass!
The common joke here is this looks like a fan-made game on Flash, but I'm pretty sure even a fan could make a better looking Flash game than this. Jesus Christ.
They kinda did.
This is the big problem. This is such clearly... Everything about this game just screams soulless cash grab. All right.
Why did you exit the
And
stage?
suddenly
So I can
we're
show
leaving.
this. So I can show this off. I want to show this off. See, and when you go back to the world map, it tells you that special stages can now be freely selected, and by that I mean the ones I've already completed. You'd think once I go through one special stage once, I could, you know, retry the special stage to make it easier for me because, you know, nice quality of life stuff in modern updates. But in true Dibs fashion, once again, every time you fail a special stage, you have to once again go back to the stage and do the thing again. Fortunately, it's not Sonic Advance 2 levels of torture. Or Sonic Advance... I'm not particularly keen on the way Sonic Advance 3 either because it's so fucking time-consuming. Although to be fair to Sonic Advance 3, once you get the key once, you don't have to get... You only need to get... You don't have to get the chows more than one time, so I guess that's an improvement, but it's still not ideal in my opinion.
Look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I feel like Sonic games have a tendency to really overcomplicate getting the Chaos Emeralds. I get it.
Dimps games specifically. Go on.
What was that?
The Dimps games.
Okay.
The ones made by Dimps specifically.
Yeah. Like, I mean, okay, even the ones not made by Dimps, but yeah, okay, especially the ones made by Dimps, it's like, I get it. You know, it shows that you truly have earned the best ending, but... God, I just feel like sometimes getting Chaos Emeralds is just...
There's a difference between...
fun.
There's a difference between challenging the player and frustrating the player.
Let me put it like this. It's to a point where I consider not getting the Chaos Emeralds to be the good ending of Sonic 2.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, if anything, Tails actually gets to help out instead of Sonic just, you know, not bothering with Super Sonic. And, you know, again, while I don't mind Blue Spears or whatnot, I do... Okay, Blue Spears is not... Blue Spears can be fun, but it's frustrating when just one little mistake off, and then you gotta hunt for a stage, ring, or whatnot.
That's why and that's why Sonic Mania special stages are the best. Another thing... Go on, Jova.
I was gonna say, one thing I'll give Sonic Origins... It introduced the concept of letting you retry special stages right on the start.
Oh my god, look at the physics. Did you notice that? Did you notice that, the physics? Like, for whatever reason, Sonic wouldn't, you know, carry momentum into the thing and just go through the fucking... Jesus Christ, what is wrong with this game? Like, the level design is trying to be classic, but the physics are still a worse version of Rush. As a result, the game just doesn't work.
Yeah, like, this is where I have to go a step up. Like, yes, it's using the Rush engine, but even Rush still, you know, had physics in it. What happened with this?
And yes, Teo, as you might have already noticed, another big problem with this game is that this was the first one, Teo. Remember the whole stop using Green Hill jokes we've seen over the recent years before Frontiers came out? So, basically, Teo, this is the game that kind of started it by being a game that is entirely nothing but just reused stages from Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. Yes, they gave them different names, but look at this. Look at this. This is Casino Night Zone. You can't fool anybody, Dimps. This is...
Okay, it's like I've always said, for what level trope haven't they used at this point?
Sonic Superstar says hi, Dwips.
Well, I say... What I say? What do you mean? Hi, I haven't seen you.
I can also point to Sonic Mania, where the 4 new levels made by the Christian and his team were very great and very put some really cool. Mirage Saloon is a great, cool spin on the desert trope, and the other and Press Garden and Studiopolis are incredibly creative level tropes.
Also, again,
give us a Sonic Wild West game already, you cowards.
this game really likes throwing lives at you.
Yeah.
Especially in an upcoming act later on.
Indeed.
I'm fine with that, honestly. I mean, I guess we could see this as the
we shouldn't.
The game's doing away with the live.
I mean,
system.
we shouldn't even have live system at this point because it's an outdated mechanic if you ask me. So.
Granted, I guess in the 2010s we weren't quite to the point of widely believing lives to be an outdated system, but
like even Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 love to do that to, like, before, right in the middle of a hard section they put an extra life that responds if you die, so that you can always retry. Which but again, for as much as I love those games, I'll say, well, by that logic you might as well just remove the life system altogether. There you go, just cut the problem at the root. You know.
Anyway, Tio, another thing. While Sonic 4 Episode 1 was not the start of it, since that was technically Unleashed, Sonic 4 Episode 1 was the first game to emphasize now you're playing is only Sonic.
Oh yeah, true. That is true. Yeah.
Because of the whole Sonic and stupid friends thing.
Although, Jova, we have to at the very least give some credit, Jova, that at least in Unleashed and Black Knight, the friends were at the very least present. In here, we have...
So that's what I said.
Maybe Black Knight, yes. Unleashed barely. Like, you get Tails and occasionally Amy. Everyone else is not all.
Fuck you, game. Alright, let's try this again.
Okay. There is... Okay. Luckily, you can press reset the stage if you're about to mess up.
Yeah, the problem is that you can't do that. You can't do that. The moment you touch the blocks, it doesn't let you do it. So you have to have lightning speed reflexes right before
to hit the start button.
Yeah.
How much of this are you actually able to see, Shiro? I'm curious.
Sorry, the music's making me fall asleep, so I'm not really paying attention.
Fair enough.
Anyway, that's what Victor praised.
But yeah, like Jova was saying, yeah.
I mean, to seriously answer your question, though, I think the background for this special stage is a lot less distracting than the ones from the actual Sonic 1.
So there's that, I guess.
But the way you control them is kind of...
Yeah, I get it.
Oh, and guess what, Teo? You're gonna love this. In the original version of the game, before it was delayed for 3 months, those special stages were only controlled with motion controls.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Basically, the Wii version... In fact, Teo, this is still present in the Wii beta that I'm gonna show off in a few moments.
You did mention even in your original commentary, but again, I'll also ask about that in a second, but just to mention, because I noticed even with the second stage, now it's my turn to ask about what the fuck is this soundtrack, because already with stage 1, well, also with this stage, but stage 1 of this, its music track sounded like it was a rejected, music track for a song in Bear in the Big Blue House.
Wow, you actually watched that show. I'm amazed.
It's been broadcasted.
This is probably... Sorry.
No, go on.
This is probably one of the more creative levels in the game. The gimmick of this one is the cards, so I guess kudos for at the very least trying to create a unique gimmick for this particular one. Sure.
I'll give them credit. I don't think any of the gimmicks are necessarily bad ideas. I feel like they are good ideas. Again, when it comes down to is how well executed they are.
I mean, the one...
Well, they don't really represent anything, you're not winning anything.
Actually, you do win some stuff.
Yeah, you do. You win rings and lives.
Yeah, I was gonna say, get used to hearing the extra live jingle in this level.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to what I was saying earlier, Tio, hence why I said that Sonic 4 Episode 1 was the first to emphasize, nope, it's just Sonic and Eggman now, because Unleashed at least has the characters enough, but Sonic 4 Episode 1 literally spouted it down to just them, and, it really shows that Sonic 4 Episode 2 was, a big listen to the complaints of fans. Again, critics actually ate up Sonic 4 episode.
Yeah.
Good grief. Okay,
I was going to say, were we still in the era of, quote, Sonic's shitty friends, unquote?
Yes.
In terms
Yes.
of reception?
Yeah.
I'd say Sonic 4 episode 1 was where it hit a fever pitch, to the point where even some of the fans were eating that stuff up.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, that's the basic problem now. Like this is the game that was made more for the critics rather than the actual audience buying the bloody games. Here, a game that's just Sonic, it's just like the Mega Drive games, and since the critics don't know anything about the Mega Drive games aside from basic superficial visuals, they ate this thing right up. IGN gave this an 8 out of 10.
That will also explain the countless lives given to you.
Yeah.
Pedro, nothing can top IGN's great review of the greatest Sonic game ever, Pocket Adventure.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Pocket Adventure, but it's not the best Sonic game ever made by any means.
That's practically Sonic's greatest hits up to that point, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically. It was even though it's technically not a Dimps game, the staff that worked on it went on to found Dimps, so you can consider it the first Dimps game technically.
I'm more curious on. Oh, you missed the
You missed
special
the
stage.
ring.
No, I did it on purpose, and I will explain eventually why. Because let's just say the final special of this game is a bitch, so I'm saving it for an act that's easy to repeat. Let's just say.
But Pedro, you want to get Supersonic, don't you?
I will. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wii prototype of Sonic 4 Episode 1. Why?
Time for a little intermission.
For those who don't know, when Sonic 4 Episode 1 came out on the Wii Shop channel, they accidentally posted the prototype.
Oops.
A couple hours later, they realized their mistake and they replaced it with the proper final version. However, too late, people dumped it, and we have it. So welcome to how Casino Street 2 was originally going to be before... Now you're probably wondering, Tail, why did they replace the entirety of a Casino Street Act 2? It's because this stage was meant specifically to use a touchscreen, because all this stage is nothing but pinball, which again, that one was...
I remember what you guys also said in your commentary. The only way you're getting out of this stage is you make like 1,000,000 points or something.
Like there's
100,000.
100,000. The thing is, Tail, it's another thing where you can tell that this was made for a mobile game, because again, it's just, not to mention... And yes, a stage is just a pinball game wouldn't necessarily be a problem. Like, again, Generations does this. Generations has a Casino Night pinball table. Thing is, that casino table is just there as a mini game, and when you run out of balls, that's it. It's just a small little mini game that you can play just for the lulz. This level, you're stuck in here. You're stuck in here until you make 100,000 points. And not just that, Tail.
His music's so cheerful.
And as you can see, Tail, this table is not exactly, big or doesn't have much in terms of variety of what you can do here. So this is by far the most repetitive stage in the game. You're just doing the same thing over and over and over, and it gets old fast.
For comparison...
I guess you should be glad that you're not losing a life every time you Sonic drops down.
Like, kudos for small favors, I guess. Go on, Jova.
The game could have fooled me if that happened.
Go on, Jova.
For comparison, one of our earliest ever videos, back when we were just Console War Regiment instead of Swashbuckling Console War Regiment Musketeers, was actually me doing an uber-long playthrough of the Sonic Adventure Nights into Dreams pinball table.
That was just a prototype that never went public in the first place.
No. It was one of our test videos. I believe it did go public at some point, but
it was either just a test to see how we would perform, in terms of, talking to each other and everything.
Regardless though, let's talk about the Night's Journey into Dreams pinball table here. That table has not one, but technically 2 tables in it if you can get up high enough. It has a ton of stuff to do, and if you really play your cards right, you'll even get special animations from the flipping characters.
Yeah.
Now again, I know
quarter of the way there.
I know, right?
This is supposed to, be more so for the 2D one, but come on, my dude, you could have at least picked this up. Granted, okay, to be fair, this is a prototype. It wasn't released. Maybe they were planning to include more.
But that's
if it was like, you know, fully.
No, that's the thing, Joe. We know what happened. That's the thing, Joe. We know what happened. This was originally going to be how it was shipped. The only reason they delayed it was because of backlash when there was a PartnerNet Xbox 360 leak of this version, because this was going to be the final version, but then when there was let's just say backlash to a certain other level that's exclusive to the prototype that we're going to see later, that's going to give Shiroi a headache. The moment people saw that leak, there was immense backlash, and Sega decided to delay the game so they could replace these two stages. Because I was there, trust me, I know what happened.
Given that I actually kind of do like the card level, I guess thankfully.
Oh, definitely. Oh, no, trust me, definitely. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. But also, hey guys, hey Shiroi, Jova, like Ken Balog, yeah, remember Ken Balog, the marketing manager for this game? Just
infamous Tails mutton chop shaved patch beard.
Not just that, but hey Shiroi, like Ken Balog said. The sequel, the sequel that we've all been waiting for, right? Look at this.
Wait, is he the one who said Sonic 4 as you truly imagine?
Yeah, that's it. Sonic 4 as you truly imagine. So, somehow, when I imagined Sonic 4 in my mind, I didn't imagine it looking like a crappy Flash-looking game with terrible, with mostly bad music. Oh god, we're done. Thank God.
We're free.
Honestly, Pedro, when I imagine Sonic 4, I think more so something that looks akin to a nice lush,
the Wii music.
Because this is
Sonic bout with him and his friends Tails, Knuckles, and Amy going on a venture to stop Dr. Eggman.
Because this is what I want. Because this is what I want in a Sonic game, right? To be stuck in one small little confined space for 10 minutes. Well, okay, not 10 minutes, I know, but it feels like 10 minutes.
As imagined by David Cage.
Go on.
Cage, can I talk about the Wii music?
Go ahead.
Okay, because the file size for WiiWare games is really
50 megabytes.
Really small.
Yep.
They had to make like compressed versions of the music for the WiiWare version, and it's I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There actually is a mod to put the Wii music in the Steam version. Personally, nice. I think it looks, both versions of the soundtracks sound about on par with each other. I mean, they sound different, yeah, but I don't really think any one of the versions is better than the other. So I usually just stick with what's in here. To be honest, I don't particularly like one over the other. So whatever. It's just the instrumentation is already not great to begin with. So it's just, and yeah, here's a gimmick from Spring Yard Zone. Yeah.
At least it's not the barrel.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. Like, if they try to bring back the barrel, like, I think even Dimps knew that they shouldn't bring back the barrel.
I am curious. Like, you did say that the people who founded Dimps were people who worked on Sonic and mostly, you know, for Sonic.
Well, before working on Pocket Adventure, they were part of SNK, so they worked on a lot of arcade stuff from SNK.
Was there anyone who worked on Sonic the Fighters in that team?
No. Sonic the Fighters was made by Yu Suzuki's Virtua Fighter team, Jova.
Yeah, because I was wondering, how do you go from, you know, specializing mostly in Sonic to fucking Dragon Ball Xenoverse?
Well, to remember, Dimps also made the original Budokai trilogy. So at the same time that they were making Sonic games, they also made the Budokai trilogy on PS2. So they had plenty of experience with Dragon Ball games.
Basically, Dimps are known for both platformers and fighting games.
Yeah. They also, if I remember correctly, I think they also worked maybe on the Wii Street Fighter vs. Tatsunoko game, I think, but I'll have to check back and... Maybe, I don't know, but the point is, Dragon Ball Xenoverse was basically Dimps' attempt to try to reclaim some success there, because they lost the Sonic cash cow. So they needed something. So I'm guessing they went to Namco and they're like, okay, how about we make a Dragon Ball game for you guys? And sure. And yeah, Xenoverse is still going to this day. It's a very popular game. So.
Similar to Mario Kart 8, Banco is just, happy to just make DLCs for it instead of having to make another, game every few years.
Isn't
it Xenoverse 2 that's actually the one that's still ongoing?
Yeah, that's the thing, Jova. They even went as far as putting the first Xenoverse in the second one. You can literally play the first Xenoverse in Xenoverse 2, so there's not even any point in owning the first game anymore.
Wow.
It's kind of like what Level 5 did with White Knight Chronicles 2, where they casually... Oh, by the way, we're also including a remastered version of the first White Knight Chronicles in here, because we can.
From what I've heard of Xenoverse, it is a pretty good Dragon Ball life sim.
It's not what I personally want out of a Dragon Ball game, but it's still good for what it is.
Would you say Project Kakarot was more to your speed?
Oh, no, but Kakarot is basically what I've always wanted, for a long time. A home console evolution of what the Legacy of Goku GBA games were doing. Basically, an action RPG covering the Dragon Ball Z story, and that's exactly what Kakarot is, and yeah, I'm very happy with it. By the way, Bamco, please announce the OG Dragon Ball DLC while you're at it. Okay, thanks.
Oh!
The next DLC is going to be the final tournament of OG Dragon Ball, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Neat.
Okay.
So I guess now they're looking to the past instead of
they recently, the most recent DLC was the Bardock OVA DLC, and we still don't know what the third DLC from Season Pass 2 is, because there haven't been any leaks. I mean, the OG Dragon Ball 1 leaked thanks to a Japanese magazine who covered the DLC, but we don't know what the next one is. Maybe Broly, who knows?
Right. When I made my soundtrack tier list for Sonic games, I put it in the square below. Okay, I made 4 tiers, best to worst, S, A, B, C. I put episode 1 in the B tier, which isn't necessarily... Okay, now, I will preface this by saying... just because they're in the same tier doesn't mean they're better than anyone on the other in said tier.
Yeah, there might be nuance.
Yeah, which means I put it on par with Sonic Lost World, Knuckles Chaotix, Advance 3 and 1, and I'll probably get lynched for this, but the Japanese European Sonic CD soundtrack.
Anyway,
well, good luck with that.
The timer disagrees with your opinion.
All right. Let's not get
it. Yes, inanimate thing. Go on screen.
Pedro?
Disagree with me.
Let's not get into But the point is,
I'm yelling at the timer.
the point is, the timer in this is very tight. So make sure you grab all those plus 5 second thingies. So let's continue. And yeah, the game is also dickish where it puts those things there, and if you go through those, let's see, they trapped you in here, making you feel... I'm sorry, that's just annoying. Come on.
Giggle there, mate.
Don't you see, Pedro? It's to test your skills, and really, again. Look, even with good Sonic games, I've never really cared for how some special stages really just change up stuff. Like, you know what I'll give Sonic Heroes credit on? For as much as Sonic Heroes has, its special stages are more or less your typical gameplay with a bit of a boost mechanic.
I just wish the controls weren't so fucking...
Yeah, you're just slipping and sliding all over the place.
But fortunately, Dwebs, that's what fan mods are for, because fortunately, thanks to the physics overhaul mod that's there for the PC version, they're much more tolerable.
Also, Shira,
I mean, if you have to pass something up with a fan mod...
Oh, yeah, obviously, but... Yeah.
Well, Dweebs, I'd rather take that over nothing at all,
Yeah.
But,
yes, to you?
You say white, this is more grey as a background.
No, I said wide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wide.
Because you can't really see where the outlines are, where the exclamation point circles are. Like, it's really...
This game looks like
There's
crap.
not a lot of direction here.
Seriously, this game looks like crap. It's just like, it looks so unappealing to...
Question, Pedro.
Yes, you're right.
Is this the one that you're controlling with motion, or?
No. That being said, Shiro, thanks for bringing that up again. I forgot to mention this. Basically, too, originally it was going to be like this. The Wii version of this game would use the Wiimote motion control. The PS3 version would use the 6-axis. The 360 version apparently was going to be the only one that would use the D-pad, which begs the question, why didn't you also give it? Fortunately, too...
Well, I don't think the Kinect was actually
that would be fun
at this point. But can you imagine controlling these with the Kinect?
Yeah. Fortunately, too, when the game got its 3-month delay, somebody had the brilliant idea. Hey guys, maybe we should give the option to play with to control these with the D-pad. Because basically, as you might have noticed, too, in the options menu, they still give you the option to play with the motion controls. I have no fucking idea why anyone would want to torture themselves by playing those special settings with motion controls. Trust me, I've tried. It's not a pretty sight. Because remember, the prototype Wii version that I'm using to record footage, trust me, that one still only has the motion control stuff. So if you want to get all the 7 emeralds in the prototype, you gotta use the motion controls. So...
Why would you be playing a prototype then?
Because, like I've explained, it has stages that were deleted that I wanted to show off.
Get the full experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sonic 4 prototype, just as you imagined it. We're not done with it yet, though.
Indeed. Alright. Fun fact. Fun fact. I actually have something to bring up right before we finish this part. But yeah, Casino Street is done. Only 2 more zones. Yeah. By the way, only each this thing. I actually forgot. I think this cost like $12 on release. I think, if I remember correctly. $12 for 4 zones. I'm not sure if this is, especially for a game that has such.
Considering the episodic nature, I get the idea what they were trying to do, you know, because that was the same period where Final Fantasy IV: The After Years was released in this exact same format. All
right, but before we leave, allow me to put an image right now on screen for everybody, audience, and I'm also showing it to my co-commentator. It's right there. A fun, interesting thing about Sonic 4 Episode 1 is the character model for Sonic, where each individual versions looks different. I went with the PS3 version because it's the model I personally like. As you can see, the Wii version is very pixelated because it's in SD resolution. The Android version is by far the best looking because it actually has proper coloring, and Sonic looks much more expressive in the Android version or mobile version.
It lacks the shading, though.
Yeah, it does.
I think it's because the Android version was the one where development was being done primarily on.
Yeah, the PS3 version looks fine. As you can see, the 360's model looks considerably shinier, and since the PC version is the port of the 360 version, obviously the model carries over. Go on.
Yeah, like I noticed also, I'm getting this is back when, you know, a lot of companies and some still had issues with PC ports. Like, ideally, a PC version should be the best version of a game.
Yeah.
But sadly, that is not always the case.
Here's a fun bit of trivia that not a lot of people remember nowadays. Originally, Sonic 4 Episode 1 released on 360, PS3, and Wii only. It was only later in February 2012 that the game got a PC port, so they could, you know, connect it with the Sonic 4 Episode 2, which did get a Steam version on day one. So they had to obviously port Episode 1 to PC 2 so that it could unlock Episode Metal for Episode 2. So
I'm actually kind of surprised you didn't use BlueStacks to get the best version of Sonic 4 Episode 1.
Because, Joe, but the Android version forces me to use touch controls to control the pinball in the special stages, and I'm not touching that shit with a 60-foot pole.
Well, true, but I thought that with BlueStacks you could like just replace motion controls with.
It's not that simple, Jova. If the game is designed and expects motion controls, it's not as simple. It's just remapping things. It can be. It depends a bit. I mean, the Wii emulator does a good job remapping motion stuff to buttons, but BlueStacks doesn't have a feature like that, so I don't think you can do that. Anyway, everybody, that was that was part 1 of Episode 1. So tune in next time where Shiroi probably will throw up.
Yeah.
See ya.
Not looking forward to
challenge.
See ya.